Om Shanti. Today's title goes hand in hand with the blessing title today. May you be a master creator who has the power to order every power to do whatever you wish to do at the right time. And the title, Remaining Stable in Adverse Situations. I don't think an adverse situation has to be a special situation which is filled with excitement and unusual ingredients. It is usually a situation that we face every day, but a situation for which my mind is not prepared to handle. Why is it not prepared to handle? Ego, my own ego. And I've been working quite a bit on this particular 3-letter word, ego, for quite a few months now. I was given a gift actually of a book by the author Eckhart Tolle. And the book is titled The New Earth. And I thought, okay, let me read this book. And I found that it was just the book that I should have read a long, long time ago, because then I would have saved myself of so much pain and understood myself much better. Adverse situation is a creation of our own mind. It is not something that is different from anyone else's, but we all have our own different perspective of looking at any one situation. What may seem to be a normal, everyday happening may to another person seem very difficult and unable to cope. And what may seem easy and normal for others may seem a little difficult for myself. So an adverse situation will be a situation depending on how I am going to perceive that moment. And that moment is what will really create my stage, or depend definitely on my stage that is already based. So how do I see myself? How am I going to order the powers or use them when I need them the most? Because I'm sure you will all agree that most of the time we forget to use those powers. We forget to call on them and say, hey, I need you. And only when the situation has passed and I'm calm and I'm thinking of what could have been, then I think, I could have used that power. I could have looked at it this way, or I could have handled the situation in a different way. But at that time, I forgot. I forgot because the mind was scattered, not stable. Whenever I look at Dadi Janki or Gentiben, I think, how I wish my mind was as stable as theirs. And I'm sure that all of you also, when observing them, have similar thoughts. Because I know that whenever a situation that I don't really like comes up before me, my mind starts panicking. And instead of calling on the right power of tolerance or the right power of accommodating, I begin to create my own little world. And in that world, I tend to put past experiences, all the rubbish that I have gathered, everything into that little pot. And then my reaction will definitely be all based on what it is that I have gathered. And looking at the stability of others, then one feels, why am I not able to remain like them? And again, the reason is only one, is because my stability, my awareness of remaining in that stability of awareness that I am a soul. I am playing my part and everyone else is playing their part. Then why should anyone or anything affect me? If it is a situation beyond my control, then naturally there is very little I can do. And at those times, we are very much in control of ourselves. That I know exactly what to do if a tsunami comes along or if an earthquake comes along. I will behave like this, I will do this. But when it's a situation happening in my logic home, or perhaps at the center, perhaps in a relationship, that is when the real adverse situation happens. Because it is in relationships that Baba has been asking us to pay a lot of attention to. Since last season, the Muralis, the Avyak Muralis have all had something or the other based on relationships. Interaction with my divine family, my Lokik family, my work colleagues, anyone that I am going to have an interaction with. And it is those relationships that where the real test papers are. For myself personally, I feel that for me that is a big, big challenge, because I think that I have created in my mind an image of myself. When people say something about you, and many people repeat that same compliment or whatever it is, then you create an image that yes, you are like that. Then, in a relationship, the person who's going to be your adversary, they say something different about you. And that is where the ego comes in. How can I bear to hear the negativity that is flowing my way? And at those times, I love to remember Dadi Gulzar's words. She once gave an example that if someone is throwing rubbish at you, would you take that rubbish? And the answer is no. So if someone is saying something that is their opinion, why should we take it on board? Why should those words affect me? It's very easy to sit here and talk like this. But I think that you will all know that when we are actually in that position, where something is happening, an interaction is taking place, and that interaction is not to my liking, then definitely the mind is scattered and cannot think straight. Never mind about calling on knocking on the doors of the powers. I cannot even think straight. And I think a little while ago in the Sakar Murli, Baba said that your thoughts go here and there because you do not remember me at that time. And it's very easy then to answer Baba and say, well, Baba, I can't remain in your remembrance 24 hours a day, at all moments. But even in the consciousness, Baba is not there. And it is because he is not there even in the consciousness that the forgetfulness has happened. The answer is very simple, isn't it? To remain in his remembrance. And yet, even though Raj Yoga, another word for Raj Yoga, is easy yoga, we all know that it is anything but easy. Loving, yes, because it is easy to interact and share a trait of all of our personality. We all have love, peace. We all have that, so it's easy to, when interacting, to express that. But how easy is it to remain in that soul conscious stage? Total remembrance, constant remembrance. So remaining stable, I think, will depend on each one of us, how we react or respond in any situation. The test paper comes to us, and we have to give that the marking of the test paper ourselves as well. Whether I have failed or passed, only I will know. No one else can judge whether I have passed or not. Many people, since I've come to Madhuban, have been asking many questions about my place of service. My place of service is Karachi, and everybody's face has lit up when I have said I'm serving in Karachi at the moment. And the excitement on their face is very visible to see that, wow, this is at the moment talk of the day. The daddies are all talking about it. They're sending lots of sakash. And to be in the place where the yagya originally started, I will definitely say that Karan Karavanhar Baba sends us to our place of service, and wherever we are, we know that it is our greatest fortune to be serving wherever he has sent us, because that place is just right for us. Whatever learning we have to do, we are going to be doing there. So whether I am in Karachi or whether I am in London, it should not really make any difference. However, in the awareness that, oh wow, I'm walking here to think that perhaps Brahma Baba also walked here. I'm sitting in this seat, wow, perhaps Brahma Baba also sat here. So there is that feeling, that elated feeling. But along with the elated feeling comes the fact of responsibility. And that responsibility lies quite sometimes heavy. Again, that word heavy is my own perception. Because service, Baba always says that service should never be heavy. It is not your service. I am the one who is Karan Karavanhar. You are the instrument. But before we say anything further, I would like to take you all to Karachi for a few minutes. Okay? No passport is required, no visas are required. All that is required is your imagination. So just sit relaxed as if we are meditating. Close your eyes and come on a journey with me. First of all, our stop is at Pandav Bhavan. And in Pandav Bhavan, walk to the History Hall. Walk into the History Hall and go towards the black and white photographs that are placed high on the far end of the hall. And the second photograph is a dome-like structure in Karachi, at that time India. Brahma Baba stands there with a group of young sisters, very young. They're all excited because it's their day out. It's their picnic time by the sea. The high wall protecting the dome is placed quite high up on the steps. But over the high wall is the sea. And the sisters are all excited. See Lachudadi running around, pulling someone's hair and saying, "Look, look at the water." Prakashmani goes up the steps and sits beside Baba and says, "Baba, what are you looking at?" And Baba says, "Child, I'm looking at the children who are yet to come. I'm invoking them. For we will not be here for too long. We will leave here and we will all spread out. And children from all four corners will come to see Baba, to hear Baba, to know his love." And Dadi Prakashmani shares this with all the other sisters, and they all stand excitedly looking far out at the sea and thinking, what Baba just said, can it really be true? How can it be true? And then one of them says, "Let's have a photograph taken." And they call Baba down from his seat, and everyone stands around him, and a photograph is taken. You are also there in that photograph. Let's go to another photograph. 3, 4 rows of these young sisters, all dressed in white shirts and navy blue shorts, all standing like good girls. They daren't laugh. Mama will tell them off. he or she will say, "Are you behaving royally? Is this the royal way to stand?" So they all stand perfectly, one by one. Baba says, "No, I will not stand in this photograph. Just you all, my sweet children, the future of tomorrow." I would like you all to gently open your eyes into the world of Technicolor, into the world of reality, because that is exactly the places where I often go, and the other brothers and sisters who also serve in Karachi, where we all go and where we stand, and we try to remember those days where the daddies were, where Baba was, where they did tapasya to invoke world service, children from all over the world. And tears come to the eyes, because you know that whatever tapasya they did, whatever hard work they did, we are eating the fruits of their hardship. Today in the world of Technicolor, Karachi is very much a different place, because the sea is no longer just over the high wall. The sea has been reclaimed, and a huge park in the design of the Golden Age Park has been built there. Now, how they got the inspiration to design that park in that way, only Baba knows, because it is really amazing that when you see the Golden Age pictures that we have in our shops here, and then when you see that park, you just stand there with your mouth open and say, "But how can this be?" But it is one of the Asia's largest parks, and really beautiful. The way it has, the architecture, the layout is really very beautiful. But as we sit there in the pavilion, as the dome is called, everything is very much changed from those days. When Daddy Janki came in April of this year, she looked around and she said, "No, this is very different from when we used to come." And one could almost feel her heart break, because what she wanted to see was the scene that she had left behind. But that scene has obviously changed into a modern architecture. And of course, the peace that they had of being able to run around and walk around is not there, because guarding your every movement are soldiers with big rifles, observing your every move. They have seen us go quite a few times, that these ladies seem to come and just sit and look out. They don't seem to be walking around or doing anything exciting. It must be pretty boring. But even though they just observe us, we don't mind. And of course, the whole of Karachi that Daddy left is no longer there. Some places where they lived, the boarding school, the very famous boarding school, at that time, it is called at the moment Kunj Bhavan. And Mama lived there with all the young sisters who were boarding. Daddy Janki did not live there. Daddy lived in another bhavan. But that place, the boarding school, has now been converted into a private school and kept in an A1 condition. Very beautiful. The grounds are beautiful. The building is as it was. And for Daddy, that was going down memory lane. And those that 1 or perhaps maybe 1.5, 2 hours that we spent there could be said to be the best 2 hours of Daddy's stay in Karachi. Because as she shared the various stories, Gentiben, who was translating, the tears were just flowing down Gentiben's face. And because Gentiben was crying, everybody else also started to cry. So the whole group of us, about 15, 18 of us sitting there, everybody's eyes and face just had tears, because everybody was transported back in time with Daddy to the experience of staying there. And as we went around the building, we had to get special permission from the headmistress, because it is a Muslim private school. And of course, the sister there was not very comfortable that we were just coming and looking around the building. And as we went around the building, up the stairs, Daddy was more and more excited. We got tired of going up and up the stairs, but Daddy just went up and up and up, very fast. Usually, we all tried to prevent Daddy from going up to too many steps, but there, the excitement just overtook her. And we were also very overwhelmed. So to see Daddy go into each room and remember each moment, Mama did this here, or Daddy so-and-so did this, or we would do this here. This room was used for this purpose. Brahma Baba would sit at the top of the stairs. We would all sit at the bottom and listen to the Murali. We just didn't want to get up. We just wanted to stay there and listen and just make the most of that special moment. We too had been transported into the 1940s. So that is Gunj Bhavan, the only place that is really kept in A1 condition. The house that Baba lived, that too is still very beautiful, but it is privately owned residential home. So obviously they will not allow anyone to come in. But just looking at it from outside, Daddy was able to say, I came here once, Baba asked me to stay the night, and I slept in that room. And I remember that the grounds are like this, etc. And even though it has very high walls and we couldn't see, we had that vision that we also were with Daddy, enjoying Baba's place. Otherwise, all the other homes, and there were, I think, altogether 15, they have all now become very derelict, not even there. Some have been made into car parks. This morning, Dadi Ratan Mohini said something very interesting, that the Murlis that were written in those days, they were all buried there. And actually some of our BK historians who have gone to Karachi, officially and legally working for the Brahma Kumaris, of course, they made the investigations, but those places are now either car parks or privately owned, and the owners, when asked if they could just dig up some part of their garden, the answer was a definite no. You cannot dig up either the car park or the private gardens. So the Murlis are still there somewhere in Karachi, and perhaps when the earthquake happens, like with everything, Baba says that all the jewels will come forth in the earthquake. Perhaps the Murlis will also be part of those real jewels. Many that I have been sharing the experiences of Karachi with also feel that Karachi you must be very brave to be living in Karachi. No, it does not take bravery, it does not take courage, nothing. It is just like any other place of service. Baba's love is there, Baba is there with us. Otherwise, media projects a very different picture of Pakistan. Pakistan is just like any other country. Remember that if we erase the line in between our two countries, we were only one country. And it is only a line that is separating us. It's a very beautiful place, very lovely. The people are very, very gentle, very interested in meditation, very interested in learning about values. They would love nothing more than to have a value-based society. I once attended a conference, a school organized by a school authority. 200 teachers from that particular district had been invited. And what they were most interested in was values. Everyone all over the world just want to learn how to live peacefully, how to live lovingly. Whatever happens in the community, in a way, has nothing to do with any particular individual or the society as a whole, though the impact is on the society, but they are the few individuals who create violence no matter where we live. So it is not courage, it does not take courage to live in Pakistan. It takes only love to live there. Just recently, I'm sure that via television and newspapers, you must have all heard about the floods that took place in the province of Sindh. The province of Sindh is where, of course, all our daddies and Brahma Baba hail from. That is where the Yagya, the Om Mandali group, first started in Hyderabad. And the whole of that Sindh province, or shall I say 3/4 of it, is flooded. Flooded in such a way that it is not just a matter of a few feet of water, okay, up to your knees, and the water will reside in a few days. The few feet of water is 3 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet of water. When your livelihood is just farming, and at that, rice farming, and then you wake up or you look out and all you see is water, your livelihood is gone. That devastation, I think it's very difficult for us to sit and comprehend of what must be going through the minds of the people who actually own that land. One of our BK brothers, Brother Akil, who's a new child, but one who has galloped, not walked, not ran, but literally galloped in accepting Baba's knowledge. He owned 200 acres of land in which he had rice farm and fish farm. And he just received a call saying that the land is flooded. So he thought, well, the rains perhaps have come, so perhaps there has been a lot of water on the ground. The next day, the manager says, "Brother, the water is now 6 feet high." And Akil Bhai says, "What are you talking about? Put on your TV and see." And of course, to see your land, to see your livelihood just underwater, it was devastating, a very traumatic time. But in that traumatic time, through having now Baba's guidance, Baba's love, Brother Akil was able to stabilize himself. And he thought, okay, if I cry, my tears will only add to the already too much water. And therefore, instead of crying, let me now instead help my brothers and sisters who don't even have the mental capacity to think at the moment, what can we do? And in that, he called us and he requested if one of us could go there and be with him, guide him, assist him. We contacted Daddy. Daddy immediately, excitedly said, yes, yes, do so, do this service. Because even when I was serving, when Baba first sent us out, and whenever there was a natural calamity anywhere or any situations happening, Baba would always contact us and say, child, go there and serve. So yes, do go and serve. So the very next morning, through the help of everyone, I myself went out to that area. And I was with them for 12 days. And what I saw in those 12 days, going to the very remote villages, traveling by all sorts of vehicles, whether it was a tractor, because a tractor has a high seat. It can go, the water, it can sort of drive through the roads that are covered by many feet of water, either by tractor, either by boat, or a Pakistani army naval, those raft boats. Whichever way we had to travel, we traveled. But we traveled to remote villages. Remote villages where there were no photographers, no TV cameras, where people were forgotten. No one, the Pakistani army, when we requested if they would take us, because we had heard that people were dying there, they asked that, okay, what are you taking there? So we said food and medicines. They said, okay, we will take you if you let us put the logo of the Pakistani army or the Pakistani Navy on the bags that we had packed. And of course our brothers, they all said, no, we don't need your help, we will go there ourselves. So we made our own way to these places. And the people that we encountered were very grateful, because in that very village, the first village that we went to, They had managed to get across to this lady's house, and in the house they found the bodies of this young lady and 3 children. So through hunger, the mother and her 3 children had all died. And many like that were all dying due to lack of medicines, malaria, gastro, on the progress. And then, of course, no food reaching them. So serving in those kind of adverse situation, and I'm calling it adverse because it is not a normal everyday situation. At that time, even then, I never experienced what one brother definitely experienced, fear. Because one day as we were traveling by boat, a village boat is like a canoe, and only two people can sit there, one on opposite side. But we managed to squeeze myself in as well. There were 2 brothers and myself. And as we were traveling, the sun had already set. It was dark. And the brother who was taken, the boatman, he just has this long bamboo pole to push his way in the water, standing and pushing, standing and pushing. And suddenly the winds are so high that the boat turns and we lose the direction of our destination. And at that moment, both the brothers start reciting the verses from the Quran. These verses are the verses that one recites when one is about to leave the body. So when they told me that, I said, brothers, don't be frightened. As long as I am here with you, and I said this without ego, no ego, but as long as I am here, Baba is the one who is the boatman. Don't be frightened. And the brother said, how can you say that, sister? And I said, because at this moment I am remembering Baba, and Baba is here. I feel him. And I knew definitely Baba would not let us drown in those dirty waters. I didn't want to drown. I didn't want to say goodbye to Baba or to anyone in those waters. So I knew that Baba would take us across. And what one brother managed to do was to phone the driver of our car and say to him, put the headlights on, so that in the dark, in somewhere, we might be able to see the headlights. And it's by seeing the headlights that then we were able to take the boat in that direction. Because in the dark, there is no electricity. In the dark, you don't see anything at all, except this just empty, cold water. So, those kind of adverse situations where people are dying in your arms, children are dying, and there is nothing you can do. Baba has already prepared us for that by over and over again repeatedly saying that, children, this time be ever ready. Whatever happens will happen suddenly. There are no warning signs that this will happen, so now prepare yourself. There won't be any time. The time is now. So, being in that ever-ready remembrance and that ever-ready stage, that whatever we see before our eyes, Baba has already prepared us many, many times before. So what more preparation do we need? Nothing. And that is the only adverse situation I would say that I have experienced whilst being in Pakistan, because in a way it wasn't so much the water or what had happened, but it was the fact that we couldn't save the children. Though we have a medical camp in Baba's name, a medical camp was erected, and the cabinet minister who came, the health minister who came to that part of the district, he visited our camp, and he said, they both said, that this is the best camp throughout the whole district. And that included the army camp as well, because it was clean. It was serving around 800 people a day. So, and that is also not just giving them free medications, but also giving them water, fresh, clean mineral water to take home. So they were very overwhelmed that this was all taking place. But just coming back now, away from Karachi, the adverse situations in our own day-to-day life, day-to-day living, which is more important, because this is where our stage is made. And if my stage at that time of facing the situation is not stable, that where I can make a decision with clarity, if I have rubbish here, then I will not be able to think clearly. Baba has also, and the daddies have also been saying, keep your intellect and mind clean and clear. But many of us have this old sanskar of becoming like the garbage truck. You know, you have all heard the story of the garbage truck? Okay. The garbage truck collects garbage from each person's home, right? Collects all the rubbish. And therefore that is its job. No one says that why is the garbage truck coming? We all welcome it and we open our doors and welcome it, that come, take whatever we have. We very happily give that rubbish to it. And it is this stabilizing that will help us at all times. If anything happens before me, let me stabilize myself in my original form. Let me see as a detached observer how I can face this situation in any different way. Baba also talks about having mercy, and it's only by having that mercy when interacting with others that will keep us as detached observers. Otherwise, I tend to get involved in the situation and my reaction is not fruitful. Today, Baba used the word fear, that when we don't use the powers in the accurate way, I create a fear inside myself and then react accordingly to that fear. The word fear, the spelling of fear, F-E-A-R, false experience appearing real. So it was not even real. Whatever is happening is not even real, because whatever is being projected is a perception. is a reaction to something going on. I don't need to have an answer for that. I don't need to react. Whatever is happening, let it happen. Let me stand on the side and watch the scene. If I have to say something, then let me see the whole picture clearly before saying anything. Okay. I'm sure you've been having many classes throughout Madhuban. Many of you are leaving now and taking Madhuban with you. Remember, we don't leave Madhuban. We take Madhuban with us. Wherever I go, I always feel that I have brought Madhuban with me. Because when we are in Madhuban, we're not just having a nice time and relaxing time, but whatever we are observing and absorbing, we are then taking that with us. Because whatever I absorb, at some point, that is going to come out. So let me take away all the specialities, all the qualities of Madhuban. Remember, one doesn't have to be in Karachi to remember that, oh, Baba was there. Baba was here in Madhuban. Baba walked in Bandav Bhavan. Brahma Baba ate and slept. And this is where the Dadis have prepared themselves. It is from here that they went to service. So this is where we can take our sustenance, our Shakti, our energy, and wherever we go, we then share that with others. Would anybody like to ask any questions about Karachi or having a stable mind? Any questions? No one? Brother, come on, you can ask. West Africa, Ghana. In London. In London. I'm originally from London. Yes, sister? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The question is that when problems are coming in from the outside, how can I remain safe and stable? If I just keep to the simplicity of those words, that the problem is outside, let it remain outside. I don't want it coming inside. When I take the problem inside, that is when things begin to go chaotic in my mind, and I begin to lose the threads of what I should be remembering. Is because that I myself have made myself into outside. I am connecting with what in Hindi it is said Bahar Mukta, meaning extrovertedness, the external. So do I want to be connected with the external? Let me keep it as external. Whatever is happening, let me see if I can provide a solution from the inside, be the same, that inside out, not outside in, but inside out. Become that. See the solution from the inside. Yes, brother? If you speak loud enough, yes, sure. Ji. A lot of the water in Sindh came through. Irrigation in farming is that around each farm there is like a wall made from soil around each one. Now, if water has come, because apparently the walls of the riverbanks, very fierce riverbanks, they all broke. So water was coming in very, very fast, at great speed. So these walls were not strong enough. And in order to direct water away from certain lands, many people saw what was happening. And so they started building walls, from sacks of cement and all of those, to stop the water coming into their land and directing it into someone else's land. So to save my land, I have to sacrifice your land. And this is how much of the water has happened. It does not feel justified, it does not seem justified, but it is something now the government says nobody can do anything about. And with regards to the brother also said that a movie should be made. Well, I'm sure that a lot of movies are always made of disasters happening anyway. So who knows? Our BK brother, he very proudly made badges for everyone. We had a volunteer team of 10 people, and each one got a badge of Baba's logo. It didn't have Brahma Kumari's saying on it, not the word Brahma Kumari's, but just the logo. And very proudly he wore the logo, he wore the badge, and therefore all the volunteers wore the badge, so that everyone was asking, which NGO are you representing? Which NGO are you representing? And they were all saying, Allah's own private NGO. Yes. Okay. Anything more? Okay. Om Shanti. Thank you for coming. So let's have a few minutes of silence.